What's good, guys? It's Joseph, and I'm back with another tutorial. I just recently realized that I got to 8,000 subscribers on my channel, and that kind of gave me a little incentive to come make another video, because I haven't really had any ideas for videos in a long time, so I just kind of stopped making them. But now I'm back with a motion tracking animation type thing. It's going to be a 2D motion track with a little reveal animation with it. Not too sure what I'm going to call it right now, but I'll think of something before the video is over. So let's go ahead and get started. I got After Effects opened up, and you saw in the preview in the beginning of the video where we're going to have this logo perfectly tracked to the bottom of this wood right here, and it's going to reveal in a little, the actual effect for this is called Luma key, so I might just be like Luma Reveal. So that's probably what I'm going to end up calling it, but I'm just going to go ahead and get started with the tutorial. So the first thing you're going to want to do is I'm going to go ahead and delete everything. I'm going to start from scratch. I got my clip right here. So you're going to want to drag your clip into your timeline. And this is pretty standard for 3D motion tracking. And so now that you have your clip in your timeline, you want to go ahead and right click on it. And then I'm in After Effects CC 2018, but this is pretty much standard for every After Effects out there. You want to go to track. And in other After Effects, it might say track camera, but mine is track and stabilize, and then track camera. And then while this is going on, I go down here and I go to detailed analysis. And I think that gives you a more accurate and more stable track, in my opinion. While this is going on, it might take a few minutes depending on your PC strength. I'm going to go ahead and go into my internet browser, and I'm going to find a picture of wood to overlay on my logo, unless you want to use some type of different way in After Effects to make your logo look like a piece of wood, but I'm just going to use an overlay, make it really easy. And I might use a different picture than I used, or I might just use the same one just because, but there's things you can do in the program to make it look more like the scene, but I kind of just quickly did it and found the first picture of wood that I could find for an overlay, and I have that right here somewhere in my composition. It's right here. So this thing should almost be done. I got about 5 more seconds going. So there we go. And then after that, it's going to solve camera, and then it's going to have these track points rendered out on the scene itself. And there they are. So there's a few things I could do here. If I wanted to, I could click, and you can kind of see this little circle that looks kind of like a target. It shows you where your stuff is going to be. And so if I wanted to click in between these 3 points right here, I would have a text, or I could put a logo, and I can move it up and have it in front of the guy, which is what I originally did. But then I had the bright idea of putting something underneath him. And so that's what I ended up going with. And so there's a few points down here that I chose. I'm going to choose these actually right here. These look good. So you want to click in between them and then right click and then create you can do a number of things. You can either create text in camera and use a text for it, null in camera, and then you can use another 3D source like Element 3D. But for this tutorial, I'm going to be using completely everything that's in After Effects, because I know not a lot of people have plugins, which is fine because they're really expensive and it's illegal to crack them online. So I try to use things that everyone has access to. So I'm going to go ahead and click the option that is create solid in camera. And so it's a solid that's perfectly tracked to this whatever scene. So I'm going to click on the solid, and I'm going to move it this way, and I'm going to open it up and then transform it and rotate it a little bit in Z space, and then make it a little bit bigger because I want my logo to be pretty big. So now that we got that, you can see no matter where you moved it, it's still perfectly tracked to the underneath. No problems there. So what you can do with this now, I'm actually going to make it a little smaller. Okay, so I want to right click on it, pre-compose this, and then you can move all attributes into another composition. So, or hold on. That messed up. Okay, hold on. Let's see. I'm gonna pre-compose this layer, and then I guess leave attributes in this. Okay, there we go. So leave pre-composed and leave the attributes in the main composition. That's gonna keep it tracked. And then if you double click on this, it's gonna take you into this. All right. Sorry for that misconfusion or whatever right there. But right here, you can go ahead and delete this solid. And then if you want, you can change this to transparent. And so now if you have a logo, so this is basically for logos. I have the PNG of my logo, and I'm going to go ahead and, you know, make it a little bit bigger. And so now I got my logo in there. If I go back into my scene, the logo is perfectly tracked to the underneath of the wood, which is pretty cool. You can leave it like that if it looks good to you. I'm gonna go ahead and take it a little step further. Let's see. Okay, so this is the main composition that I was working in. Everything over here is just a little extra, so I'm just gonna delete those so they don't get in the way. So this is the main comp we're working in, and so I'm gonna go ahead and go back down and scale this up a little bit more. Okay, so now you can see everything is perfect. Okay, so what I did to kind of composite this to make it fit into the scene a little bit better, I went back to my composition that only had the logo in it, and then I'm going to drag my picture of wood in here, and I scaled it up to make it a little bit bigger. And then what I went ahead and did is, if you toggle switches and modes down here, you want to make sure you get the option for track matte, and for track matte you put alpha matte, and then you want to make sure it's under the logo. So now it's only going to be showing the picture on top of like the shape of the logo. And if you go back into the main composition, it looks like it fits a little bit better, but it's just really light, and there's things we can do to make it like make it blend in, like put a color correction on it and stuff like that. If you want, you can even go as far as to make these lines line up, like kind of like I did in the preview, but that's just like something you can do on the side because it only requires rotation of the wood in here and stuff. But I'm not going to worry too much about that. I'm going to let you guys play around with it. What I really wanted to get to was animating it onto the scene. So you saw how it animated on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and that's probably where I'm going to end up stopping, because other than that, the only other thing I did was put a color correction on it, and then that was pretty much it. And then I did maybe a little bit of curves on here, but other than that, that was it for that. So what you're going to want to do is you want to add the effects. You're going to want to add to the bottom, to the actual picture. So if you go into your effects and presets and type in Luma, and it's going to have Luma key, and I'm 90% sure that every After Effects has this effect in it. You want to drag it on top, and then the only thing you're going to want to be like messing with is this threshold right here. And you can mess with the other things, but I don't think it looks as clean. So if you want to go, you want the effect to start, you want to key the threshold at max, or whenever this is like completely like dissolved and gone, then you can do that too, which is around 217, 220. It'll be different depending on how big your picture is and stuff like that. And so once you have the keyframe, you press U on your keyboard to see it in real time. And you can scrub forward a little bit, and then you can put it to where it's either fully developed or maybe like halfway so you still have that like kind of effect where it's like kind of like that. It's just up to you. And then you want to highlight both of those keyframes, right click and keyframe assistant easies, and then you can go into your graph editor and mess with this however you want. If you want it to start off quick or whatever, you want it to gradually fade in, that is completely up to you. I'm gonna let you do what you want with that. And so the clip's starting, that's coming in, and that's really it. Another thing you could do is you can put brightness and contrast onto that, and then bring the brightness down and the contrast up, and then it doesn't change much, but it's just a lot of little things you can do to make it blend in. And I might do a whole nother tutorial on compositing, but this was just basically for tracking it, making it look seamless, and just making it look like it's actually like not shaking around in your scene, which is really something that I see a lot of people have problems with when they're tracking. And then adding that little like animation, having it come on. So that's pretty much it. I don't really have anything else to share for this. Thanks again for 8,000 subscribers. That's really insane. I'm going to be trying to making a lot more tutorials, especially with Fortnite, because there's so much stuff you can do with the replay that they have in there. But other than that, I've just been streaming on Twitch, playing Fortnite and other games like that, and that's how I've been spending my time. But I'm gonna try to make a comeback and make a lot more videos for the channel, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, if you guys have any questions, I have my email, my Twitter, my DMs are open on Twitter and stuff like that, so you can contact me whenever you want. I try to answer as much comments, messages, and stuff like that I can. Other than that, hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I'm out. Peace.